Hello everyone, my name is Matt Simpson, and my topic is about how Assassin's Creed video games utilize religious art and architecture and their mystical depictions of an ancient feud between warring assassin cults. The game developer Ubisoft prides themselves in taking history seriously and aims to avoid historical inaccuracies. But are they introducing grievous errors into our contemporary understanding of the roots of Western religion and culture? If they are indeed doing this, is this metafictional practice to be encouraged? In my personal opinion, I feel Ubisoft does a great job with these games and their attempt to provide accurate depictions of the visual culture and landscape of the time. I also feel that getting this right is very important to maintaining historical integrity and attention to detail as a company. Ubisoft makes the landscapes and games extremely accurate to real-life settings, and they put a lot of capital into hiring trained academics, historians, and experts to recreate each given historical time period. Lastly, although they may add a violent and graphic twist to the history, they still maintain the setting and even historical characters in the games. And this twist brings a new dimension to previously important history, resulting in a fun and even educational gaming experience. Firstly, there's tremendous detail put into recreating the intricate architecture and scenery of historical settings, from 18th century Paris on the brink of the French Revolution to the Italian Renaissance in 1511. Popular games like Assassin's Creed Unity and Assassin's Creed Revelations are great pieces of evidence of the time and resources put into these games by Ubisoft. The exactness literally places you in the crowded streets of 1776 France, where you embark on various missions guiding you through actual events and unique objectives involving real-life characters. The detail is so exact that pictures have surfaced online of a man holding up a picture from the AC Unity game in front of the building it replicates, creating a perfect puzzle piece-like match. The overall feel of the setting fully immerses the player, being able to interact with locals on the street, experience different areas of the map, each with unique architecture and cultural presence, and explore the authentic environment from compelling new perspectives. An IGN review on the game raved about its unique and stunning setting, saying each of the various districts unfolds with its own sense of character and environmental storytelling, from the ornate palaces of the privileged to back alleys running with the blood of the revolutionaries. But what really makes it unique and distinct from past games is its citizens, who form some of the largest, most impressive crowds I have ever encountered. It is evident that Ubisoft truly values attention to detail in an immersive setting to intrigue gamers. Next, Ubisoft clearly takes historical accuracy very seriously, as seen by how much money they assign to various historians and experts to research the given setting and ensure the final result is an authentic historical experience, free of errors and full of real-life stories, events, and characters. A 2017 article from The Guardian asks, how do you construct a 3D space that isn't just a museum of ancient buildings, but a living socio-cultural reconstruction? And how do you even settle on a specific moment in history? It answers with a quote from one of the historians hired by Ubisoft to recreate ancient Egypt and AC origins. We start with a very general idea for a time period, explains franchise historian Maxime Durand. We don't necessarily know which events and places we want, but we research encyclopedias, then other books, then we watch movies and TV series to see how the entertainment industry has tackled the subject. Of course, we knew we wanted Cleopatra and Caesar, that was a no-brainer. But then knowing precisely what the events were was a lot more complex. The article goes on to explain how Ubisoft has an army of experts, even hiring Egyptologists in the field, and making deals with universities to get as much information on the subject as possible. They even went as far as hiring linguists and dialogue coaches to establish an advanced language emulating ancient Egyptian, spoken by characters and origins. They gathered voice actors from Arabic, Hebraic, and African backgrounds to create an authentic Egyptian sound, further demonstrating Ubisoft's need for authenticity. Many newspapers commented on the game's eye-watering budget, reported to be around $500 million, and the game took close to 3 years to make. All this time and resources allocated to creating an informative and authentic game validates Ubisoft's carefulness with different cultures and desire to ensure each different setting's culture is represented truly and respectively, showcasing the beauty and individualism of each new project's target. Lastly, some may find certain violent elements of the gameplay to be disrespectful in certain historical places, like the Sainte-Chapelle in Paris, for example. In my opinion, the developers are not intending to disrespect any sacred spaces, but are trying to create fun and dramatic gameplay through a beautiful cultural place. It could even be seen as a metaphor for darkness and violence colliding with the beauty and order brought about by religion. Although darkness comes to disturb the peace, the visual religious culture and religion itself prevail. The gameplay of the Assassin's Creed series provides a mesmerizing and alluring experience, in which a fictional band of rebel assassins, in a way involving many spiritual and religious aspects of life, journeys a historical staple period, like the colonial or Victorian eras, for example. The unique premise of combining fiction and fact, futuristic elements in history, simulation and replication, provides gamers with endless adventures and objectives, from overlooking historic Paris from a towering viewpoint before majestically diving into action, to commandeering your own pirate ship exploring various ports and settlements. The possibilities are endless. The game even gives the gamer a prompted trademark statement to address the religious disputes directly. Fairs Gaffaf, former QA at Industrial Technics SC, sums up the challenges related to cultural differences faced by Ubisoft very well. He says, "The developers are very well aware that there exist religious differences between them and their target audience. They've worked on the game despite that, because the game is not about presenting historical events and persons, right to the T. Its purpose is to tell a tale involving grey morality, decadence, bravery, unification in the face of opposition, and to achieve all this by going back to the past, drawing on historical figures and places, but again, not with 100% accuracy. This also touches on religious beliefs. Even people within religions have difficulty with their own beliefs and debate them constantly. Besides, somewhere on this world, someone will always get offended by an unconventional presentation of his beliefs in a game or other media. That is a statement about the person's preference, not about the game." In conclusion, even with all this controversy and question of this metafictional practice of introducing historical inaccuracies to our understanding of Western culture, Ubisoft prevails at making fun, immersive games and maintaining a loyal following for the Assassin's Creed series. With their precise replications of quintessential cultural monuments and spaces, massive outflow of resources dedicated to creating an accurate and even educational experience, and unique premise of combining fiction and history to provide gamers with unique, alluring form of gameplay and perspective on classic factual events. All in all, Ubisoft succeeds in creating attractive, timeless video games, while addressing cultural issues effectively and doing their best not to offend or disrespect anyone. Many people around the world have shared their thoughts about Ubisoft's job in handling sensitive cultural issues, and several debates have arisen about whether Assassin's Creed games are anti or pro-Christian, or any religion for that matter. This video by Caleb Crosby I found on YouTube sparked my interest.
Is Assassin's Creed anti-Christian? First and most obvious of points is the existence of those who came before, mysterious beings who created the pieces of Eden and are for all intents and purposes the deities of the Assassin's Creed universe. And before we throw up a red flag, let's remember that there are many other stories that propose ideas of non-traditional deities. In order to stay religiously neutral, the makers of the games thought up something entirely new. And once again, let's remember that this work is fictitious. Now on to the next point. There is also debate over the literal creed used in the game and its meaning. It is simply the phrase, "Nothing is true, everything is permitted." On the surface, this statement definitely does seem blatantly controversial, but its meaning is hardly skin deep. It is not an ancient YOLO cry as many may think. Rather, in the words of Altair himself, it is a call to be wise. The statement is not going against laws of nature or good and evil, but it points out the lies in men. Nothing is true simply means that we humans cannot trust ourselves. A tongue is a powerful and deceitful weapon, and the phrase reminds us to be wise about who we trust and why. Everything is permitted may be a slight shout out to 1 Corinthians 6:12, the Bible verse that says everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Yes, we can do everything and anything we want. We are capable of committing the greatest good or the most evil sin. But once again, the statement is a call to be wise. Just because we are able to do anything does not mean we should. Another large, seemingly anti-religious concept is the deception and corruption in the Catholic Church. But if we look back in history, there actually was. I'm not claiming to know their hearts, but leaders of the church were even killing those who wouldn't convert at one point. Another point is the Templars themselves. Historically, they were one of many orders in the Crusades, and also one of the most hated. As noble as the Crusades may have sounded, the Templars themselves were anything but noble. Even fellow Knight Orders despised them. True, some of their intentions may have been good, but the way they went about them was not always the best. So all in all, Assassin's Creed is not exactly pro or anti-Christian. Much of the storylines of earlier games coincide with Christian-based themes as well as those of other religions. In the end, it is solely meant for entertainment, and much of the subject matter is made up. In all actuality, Assassin's Creed is pretty similar to other stories of today that offer alternate history and conspiracies. And of course, the AC games aren't children's games by any means, but at the same time, they're not the most controversial or anti-Christian games out there. In the end, it is good to ask questions and be discerning over any of our entertainment choices. Most games are solely meant for entertainment purposes, so long as we are wise. We should be able to just sit back and enjoy. And of course, not everyone has the same convictions and beliefs, so it is good to research and know about what we are dealing with to make sure things don't concern us. So, is Assassin's Creed anti-religious? Ultimately, it really depends on the way it is interpreted.